is me. And I got hired to come and do a birthday party of the CEO of a company in Abuja, of a nationwide company actually, who resides in Abuja. They paid me well. The only person missing at that event was Buhari. From the vice president down, they were in attendance. It was a very solid one. And I kept asking myself, is it my Instagram? What did they see? Then I got into Abuja, and I just saw that woman, and I knew that, okay, I had seen this woman somewhere. And she walked up to me, and she's like, the same energy you gave in Amoyo, give it in Abuja. And I'm like, okay. And I pulled her aside. I said, my experience. She's like, I was at the event in Amoyo, and the only thing that lingered in her head throughout is, if you can do this much in the corners of Amoyo, what would you do if you are put on a higher pedestal? Which buttresses what he said. I gave extra. I didn't care that I was doing this in Amoyo. I delivered that event like everybody that mattered was there. So don't see any customer as, oh, they are small, or they are not. Every customer is big. Just like I said, the one customer, impress one person and the ripple effect will continue to show. There's no small customer anywhere. For somebody to put their hands in their pockets and buy what you are selling, they are king.
Thank you so much. That's very valid. There is no small customer anywhere. If you're going to go on with anything, please make sure you go. So, sir, Engineer Fuller, this question is, when you started, what was your status personally, financially, and how did you acquire the resources to grow? At what point did you know it was time to scale? And what strategies or action did you take to fund and execute that growth? That essentially, I'm curious about the nitty-gritty. This person is detailed. The nitty-gritty of going from starting small to scaling successfully.
I think we would need to unpack that question.
We'll take it bit by bit.
We'll take it bit by bit.
Yes,
so
exactly.
Give me the first bit.
Okay, so the first bit is, when you started, what was your status personally and financially? I think we should start with that.
Let's start from there. Okay. When I started out, the status was not this glamorous. It was very, very down to heart. As at that time, in fact, what gave birth to EVC itself was EVC trying to solve a problem. Because I undertake constructions for people, during my internship days, post-polytechnic, I interned at a construction firm, so I know the basics of how construction works and all of that. So the very first time I attended a class, my 200 level, after getting admitted into the university, the very first time I attended a class was the very first time I met my first client. So the guy was dressed in kaftan, different from what a regular student would look like, right? And because I've sort of seen how business was done outside the four walls of the school, I knew there and then that this person looks like someone that can patronize what I have to offer. But we did not do business until 2 years later. So, but I kept on telling people, talking to people about what I can do. So, on one of those days that I met the guy, after that first encounter, he said, and I have one small land that we can do something on, but I don't know how to go about it. So I gave him that consultation, free, obviously, because I could not even have offered a value to it. I remember that the first money that guy was to give to me was 140,000 naira. For any member of EVC staff that's there, I've said that story before. 140,000 naira, the day that guy would give it to me, it was in cash. He came to my hostel, one single room. He came to my hostel, was like, you see this money, Joe? This money is all I have. And you just have to help me do this the best of the ways you can. The economy was not this bad back then. And I remember vividly that 140,000 naira, aside we getting some materials and all of that, we nearly finished that money on foundation, right? So the level of accountability and integrity that came with it was the first capital. Do you understand? Because, like they mentioned, that your first client would lead you to the second client, that will lead you to the third client, that will lead you to your A client. Down the line, the person eventually connected me to someone that gave me 20 million naira to erect a similar building. A building that we started out with 240,000 naira. Because it was done properly, it led to the connection that brought 20 million naira in less than 2 years interval. And that's to say that starting out is not necessarily by capital. When you are starting out, your first resource has to be integrity. When you tell people this is what you are to expect, it is better you give them what they are expecting than under-give them what they are expecting. So you don't over-promise to under-deliver. You under-deliver to over-promise. And that's the way to start out in businesses. And that is the first thing you need to master when dealing with people. Your integrity has to be there, because that's the resource that would propel you to other part of the business that you are not even privy or aware of. I think that answers the first bit.
I think that does. So the second bit now is, at what point did you know it was time to scale? And what strategies or action did you take to fund and execute that growth?
Okay, scale without structure and system is chaos. So, and as much as we like to glamorize it, scale will test you on all faces. It's going to test you emotionally, it's going to test you financially, it's going to test you psychologically, it's going to test you spiritually. So, if you have not mastered your documentation process, don't scale. So, for everything you do in the business, there must be a template. A template is what underscores it. Right? That is, note it down. I'm a real estate developer. People buy projects from me and all of that. So the very first would be to look for property, right? The second best will look for how to market and sell the property. When I then get a client from selling that property, how do I retain those clients? So these are all processes, right? Then design a system around it. That is, when you've documented your processes, and those processes can now work without your direct input, a system have been created. That's what creates the system. It can work without your input, without your physical presence. That's what makes it a system. Now, with that, find the right team around it. That is, oh, this person is a relationship builder, so this person should be in charge of my customer experience. This person knows how to sweet talk people, tell them the features, the amenities, the promises that this particular project holds. Oh, this person can be in sales. Oh, this person is a get-it-done kind of a person. He can get things done without him squeezing his face. He's a solution-oriented person. Oh, this person manages the site. So when you've gotten people to now undo all of those processes, that is what makes it a system. And they can function effectively without your direct input, then you are ready for scale. So you now need to understand that the motivation for a lot of persons differ. And your job on the business is to find people at that position of their why and match their why to the big why of the company or to the big why of your vision. So for some persons, their motivation could be that, oh, once the CEO publicly acknowledges that I'm the one that does this, they like validation. They like to be given credit. You must know that that's what keeps them going and assign them responsibilities in that regard. There are other persons whose some persons motivation could be money. Some other person's motivation could be career growth. Some other person's motivation could be visibility. So you must know what ticks the boss. For these persons you've placed in charge of the system, and that's how you can scale.
All right, thank you so much, sir. We are rounding up soon. There's so many questions that are just coming in. So I'll be asking, there's a question here that is directed to Mr. Shola Rahman. This person says, as a photographer in Ilorin, confident in the quality of my work, how can I attract clients who are willing to pay for the value I provide? Because what I am getting right now is below my worth and value, and it feels like I'm chasing everyone. This person particularly asked for you. Well, personally, I would have said TGP is in a better position.
Okay, ask that question again. I know why they asked for me, though, but ask that question again.
Okay, so as a photographer in Ilorin, confident in the quality of my work, how can I attract clients who are willing to pay for the value I provide? That's one. Because what I'm getting right now is below my worth and value, and it feels like I'm chasing everyone.
Okay, so first and foremost, value is not a self-acclaimed thing. I need to understand that there's nobody that doesn't feel good about what they are selling. Amy, Ayayati. No. You would tell yourself that every morning, right? What's his name? Portable and Sheyi Vibes will look in the mirror and say, I'm a handsome man. Every morning. They have to tell themselves that. It's how it is. And it's that same mirror that Simini will look at and say, I'm a handsome man. But what we are all saying is different. Now, the value that you proclaim you have on what you currently are doing should come more from, I don't want to use the word feedback, but let it come more from what I think this person should do, right? If I were advice, is put more energy on building substance in terms of relationships. Put more energy in building substance in terms of what? Relationships. I'll give you a very good example. There are events that I have done in this town.